In this video, we're looking at computations with fractions, and the first thing I'm going to focus on is adding and subtracting fractions. So when you add or subtract a fraction, you need to have the same denominator. So we use a method called cross multiplication. So I'm going to do an example and then you'll see why it's called the cross multiplication. So here we have 1 over 2 plus 3 over 5. So I'm just going to write it over here a little bit bigger. Like that. All right. Now the reason it's called cross multiplication is because we use these things called arrows to show multiplications. So the first thing is we're going to draw an arrow down here. We're going to draw an arrow here and an arrow here. You can see there's a cross there, hence cross multiplication. So what this means is we're going to multiply using those arrows. So up the top on this one we have now 1 times 5. On the bottom we have 2 times 5 plus 3 times 2 over 2 times 5. Now we have 5 over 10 plus 6 over 10. Now we can add them together because they have the same denominator, so we get 11 over 10. So again, multiply the bottom and then multiplying across. Doing that will get you the same denominator, which then means we can add it. So here we have another example, but this time the problem is we have numbers out the front. This one's not too bad. We can actually deal with this pretty easy. We're going to focus on our whole numbers first. So the 3 take away 2 equals 1. So we know that's going to be in there. Now we're going to deal with our fraction parts. So I'm going to write 1 over 4 minus 3 over 5. Now what I can do there is do my cross multiplication. So we end up with 1 times 5 over 4 times 5 minus 3 times 4 over 4 times 5. So now we have 5 take away 12, so we get negative 7 over 20. So over here, this one that we found in the blue, all right, we have a problem. It's 1, now we have take away 7 over 20. So that's our new answer. Our new calculation is 1 take away 7 over 20. That's going to get us our answer. That's a whole. That one is a whole. So I can change that to 20 over 20 take away 7 over 20. All right, which means I get down to 13 over 20. Okay. So what I did there was I converted that whole we had, that 1, into a fraction with the same denominator as the 7 over 20, which allowed me to do the 20 take away 7 to get 13 over 20. The next thing we're going to look at is multiplying and dividing fractions. So when you multiply fractions, it's pretty straightforward. You multiply the numerators and then you multiply the denominators. So here we have 2 over 3 times 5 over 3. I just like to draw arrows here to show what I'm doing. So we have 2 times 5 over 3 times 3. So we get 10 over 9. The next thing we're going to look at is dividing a fraction. So when you divide a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So I'll just quickly cover what the reciprocal is in case you've forgotten. So let's say we're 3 over 4. Its reciprocal is, you just flip it. So its reciprocal is 4 over 3. If I have 1 over 2, that's reciprocal is 2 over 1. Okay? So over here we've got 2 over 3 divided by 5 over 6. First thing I'm going to do is find the reciprocal by flipping. And when you do that flip, that divide becomes a times. So now we have like that. And then we just follow the same rules. We multiply across. 2 times 6 over 3 times 5. 12 over 15. Now, with all of these problems, just make sure that you are simplifying them if you can. Lastly, we're going to look at some mixed numerals. So what happens in this case? So the first thing I want to do is convert that 1 and 5 over 8 into a improper fraction. So remember when we have that 1 there, I can rewrite that as 8 over 8 and just add it on to my 5. So what I get then is 13 over 8. All right, so I'm going to put that back up into our original. So over here we now have 13 over 8 divided by 16. Now, before when we were dividing, we had to flip it to get the reciprocal. I can rewrite that 16 as 16 over 1. Now I can flip it to get its reciprocal. So 13 over 8 times 1 over 16. Multiply across. So now I have 13 over 8 times 16 is 128.